Hello everyone and welcome back to the Giant Podcast, where we talk all things Rugby League and Huddersfield Giants. Today on the podcast, for the first time, we don't have a guest, but fear not, because this opens the opportunity for us to finally cover some bigger issues more in depth. Who is us? Well, once again, I am your host Cameron Deacon, and joining me is the Dream Team. It's a man whose picture follows you around the John Smith Stadium. It's Mr. Eorl Crabtree.
That's right, good to be back.
And it's a man whose voice follows you around the stadium on every match day. It's Mr. Tim Burton.
Greetings.
First of all, Earl, I want to ask you a question.
Where's this leading?
Were you forced to add my mum on Facebook?
Well, actually, funnily
Just
enough,
be careful how you answer this.
I've been in touch with your mum. She's a lovely, lovely lady. And I thought I'd just try and drag some information out of her and just see if there's any way I could hammer you. But she hammered you all by herself, to be fair. But it's quite funny actually. They sent me a couple of nice pictures of you when you were younger.
She did, she?
Yeah.
In the bath.
Covered in mud, playing at rugby union, which made me feel physically sick.
Boo, Cameron. Boo,
But
Cameron.
I tell you what, you looked young, you looked slim. What went wrong, mate? Why did you quit? What has gone wrong? Mate, pop noodles or something now.
No, I hate pop
He's only 20.
20.
He's only 20.
Oh, there you go then.
Yeah, I knew that was a reason she wouldn't show me the conversation.
Yeah, that was the reason.
At least she'd be embarrassing me. And for the record, she said I was too embarrassed to ever introduce her to you. But there was never a situation where that could have happened. And she says there was. There's never ever been a point where they're two cross.
Anyway, I've invited her to a game, so I said, look, let's cut the middleman out. So she's invited to a game anytime she likes, because it'd be great to actually officially meet her and see if we can relate and get some more dirt on Cameron.
So, what you're saying is, Earl, is that after all this time of doing the Huddersfield Giants podcast, Cameron has never once invited his parents to the game.
That's not true.
She actually says...
Hang on a minute, let me get it from the big man's mouth.
She actually said that Cameron is embarrassed by his mother, to be fair, which I find frankly disgusting. You should be very proud of your parents.
Yeah. Although, for the exact reason that you've named, that would be why. She would give you dirt. I know she's listening to this, so don't do it.
So what was the story about him wearing a dress then?
I'm thinking we'll save that for another episode. There's a couple more bits as well, which I found quite strange. I didn't know that he was into that sort of thing. But you learn a lot about people, don't you? Especially for the parents when they're quite happy to tell you absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So you weren't forced, was
It was actually through a mutual friend, Paul Hellard, he probably won't be listening to this, but he's a mutual friend of ours. Played golf with him at the weekend, and he brought you up into conversation, and your mother as well. So he said I had to add her just to basically hammer you.
Just for context, by the way, my mum she was a teacher, and in classes she was a history teacher. So every time we went somewhere historical, she'd show us homemade videos. One of the homemade videos was me as a child running around the Greek Olympic running track completely naked. And she showed that to her class, a class of which I eventually joined, and that's the only thing they ever spoke to me.
I was going to ask how many years ago was that?
No, it was when I was, 15. No.
Good that you're comfortable bringing that up here though, Cameron.
Yeah, that's because that video is gone and will never go up. Luckily.
That's what you think. We're here today, Cameron.
This is your life. Hey, look, at least you're not scarred by any of this, and you're taking it in good spirit. It's really good. Doesn't seem to have affected you one little bit.
Right, anyway, go on to the proper conversation, which isn't about my personal life.
That was the
about
conversation.
Yeah. Let's get on to the podcast where we're talking about your mum. Sorry, I do apologise. Lovely lady.
But what I did want to ask was, as mentioned before, what are we thinking of the new seats in the stadium? How they're coming along? Because I know there's been a lot of conversation in the...
Wow, are we allowed to comment on this subject? What do we think, mate?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Yeah.
I actually quite like him, because I think it actually looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm very sad to see that. Well, to be fair, the red that's in the stadium has nothing to do with the Giants in the first place, so people think that it's meant to be claret. It isn't. It's just red. The red seats. It's not claret as in the Huddersfield Giants.
Yeah.
The reason that Huddersfield Town can do this is because of the operational rights that we gave over, meaning that they can sell certain aspects of the stadium and actually dress it up how they like. This does actually in turn affect us in a positive way, because these actually rewards for us and kickbacks, which probably do need to remain like sort of undercover as it were, but it is positive for us, although it doesn't look like it is from an outside perspective. The bigger picture is Huddersfield Town are a massive corporate animal. They can get so much more commercial revenue and support than a rugby club could ever get. And in a world at the moment where rugby league is struggling, you have to take every possible opportunity to make sure that you stay safe. And this is something that actually benefits the Huddersfield Giants. It may not look pretty to the Claret and Gold fans, but I do believe it is an actual positive for the Huddersfield Giants.
Listen, when the Caravel Army are sat in those seats anyway, you know, it'll just look Claret and Gold. So what's the big issue? You know, it's only when the stadium's empty that you'll be able to see blue and white. I don't think it's a problem. It's our I'm going to say neighbouring sports team, but they're not. They're in exactly the same place. And you know, we ought to get behind them as much as they ought to get behind us, so I don't see any issue with it.
No, I agree with that as well, because ultimately, and this is what frustrates me about this, is it's Huddersfield Town.
Yeah.
It's Huddersfield Town as a whole, and Huddersfield Town football, rugby, netball, American football, AFL, whatever it needs to be. Crown Green Balls, which you're really good at.
Me and Brian Black are.
Do you find them a bit heavy, them balls? That is really good.
I'm 5'8". I'm not a midget.
But in all seriousness, you're supporting Huddersfield as a town. So why do we actually put each other down? Why do Giants fans absolutely hammer Huddersfield Town fans and vice versa? Well, I believe you need to get behind your town.
Exactly. I'm with you.
In all sport, yeah, exactly. And to be fair, from the feedback that I've seen from the Huddersfield Giants socials, it seemed gone down pretty well, to be fair. Especially the new blue velvet carpet around the outside. I think that looks pretty smart.
It does. It looks better. It does look better. I mean, the faded red and blue seats look
old, don't they? Yeah.
It does look old. The stadium does need making over. I think I was just looking at the background. It looks like they're actually ripping down more signs at the back of the stand. Some looks like there might be some more branding going up at some point. But the whole point of all this is it makes it look better.
And
it makes it look more professional.
100%.
The colour scheme of the stadium from the outside is blue and white. So you come inside and suddenly it's red. You're wondering why, but it looks good from the stand that's now finished. I think it actually looks really smart.
Totally agree.
And speaking of rugby league needing to, help from others, I wanted to talk about Magic Weekend because it was confirmed about 4 days ago that it wasn't going to be going back to Anfield, and there have been a lot of discussions about where it should go next, whether it should go back to Newcastle. Where do we think it should be going? What are your views on it?
It's an interesting one, this, because I absolutely loved Newcastle.
I liked Newcastle.
And I thought it was perfect. So that perfect sort of scenario, that setup of a stadium where you can literally just walk out and you're straight where the shops are. We'll go shops first. And then eateries.
Where are you going, Giacomo?
And, a bit of clothing. You're definitely not going there. Mother care, maybe. But there's a few bars as well, and I found that setting absolutely perfect. At the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing it somewhere else. I mean, I have the opportunity to ride there every year, so I mean, I don't want it to be too close. Abroad, maybe, I don't know, France.
Barcelona,
that'd be something to be interesting. That's a bit of a long trek, I'll be honest with you, on a bike. But it'd be interesting to see where it goes next.
I agree with you. I like Newcastle. I like it because it's right in the city, and you don't have far to go. There's everything that you need there. If you want to nip out and nip back in, you can do it, and there's places to go and have a good time. So what else is there in the UK that you can do that? Cardiff, we've been there before. Could we do that again? That'd be a good shout, Cardiff.
Is Cardiff in a good place?
Yeah.
So,
do you know what?
I've been
Cardiff,
amazing
it's weird,
place
Cardiff,
to be.
right? You walk around Cardiff City Centre, the stadium, slap bang in the middle of it. You'd never even know it was there, would you?
You know, you want.
It sounds ridiculous.
But it's
you
attached
can't-
to a stadium as well. Cardiff
Yeah.
Arms is
Yeah.
right next to it.
Yeah,
And
it is.
obviously that's where the Cardiff used to play rugby union. So
Yeah.
I think that's like an AstroTurf pitch now where I don't know what team plays on there, but it's like almost like two back-to-back. One really small stadium, but then a ridiculous
I thought
one.
the Cardiff Blues still played there.
It might be.
Do they?
Yeah.
Don't know.
One of the other options brought up was that I've seen people suggesting, obviously it'd be a hell of a project to do, is the having the Summer Bash and Magic Weekend in the same place. And the suggestion for that is the Etihad complex.
Yeah.
So you have Magic Weekend at the main stadium in the Etihad, and then you have the Summer Bash at the women's Man City women's pitch and the other surrounding grounds around there, which
I think it's a great. In principle, I think it's a good idea. Practically, I don't think it's going to work. I think to have both leagues competing there over the same weekend is a good idea. But the idea of it would be so that it's all in the same place. So if you're going to have them in two different venues, then I know they're close. Kind of defeats the object a little bit for me. But then practically, how are you going to have so many games over the weekend? You're talking
would be
about
quite a
5
spectacle,
games a day.
you'd be such a from a rugby league point of view.
The rugby league
I see a full area of what is usually a footballing stadium.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, to be fair. I think it'd be interesting to try it. And this is what we're really good at as a sport, is to try new things, and this is why we keep going to different places. I would stay away from going down to London. I think that would be an absolute massive mistake.
I agree with you.
It just doesn't work for me.
Where would you put it in London? That's what I'd be asking.
But where did they play? They played the internationals at Stratford, didn't they? What's the place called?
Well, was it Olympic Park is where they played, and I'm not a massive fan of that place. It lacks any sort of atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's too far away.
It's too far away.
It's horrible, and it just doesn't work, especially in rugby league. I don't think
you can't play at Wembley because that's Challenge Cup, innit? I think you've got to have Challenge Cup there. I don't think another event there would be,
It's like the whole debate in football is why you have semi-finals in Wembley and the final in Wembley. Makes the event less special, doesn't it? And obviously, speaking of Wembley, actually, they've had the Challenge Cup semi-finals over the weekend. Were any of you watching then in the University of Bolton Stadium, which might be holding a last few sporting events that it gets to see for a while?
I believe that they're not. They're
all right for now.
Yeah, their neighbours over in Bury are struggling, aren't they? But
but no,
watch both games. Watch both games again. Think, brilliant spectacles of rugby league. Close game there between Warrington and Hull,
which is what you'd expect as well. A close game.
And Halifax gave a real good account of themselves, I think.
They did, and it's something I talked about yesterday, and I seem to just do podcasts these days. It was on with Dave Woods and John Wilkin, and as we were saying at the time, Halifax were never winning that game, and it's okay saying everyone's saying how amazing Halifax were, and they were brilliant, and they really defended for their lives and showed what you can do as a part-time team, but Saints, they were always winning that game. They was winning comfortable, and they did win comfortable in the end. They made it difficult for them, but they got through it, and they didn't really have to try that hard and do anything special. And I think to take away anything from Saints, they had a job to do and they did it. And it wasn't as pretty and they wanted as many points. But it's almost funny, you can't win. I mean, as a Saints team, you cannot win, as in the sense that you put 70 past them, and suddenly there's just this massive void between Super League and Championship, and Halifax are terrible. This is what was expected, and then they win. Not by.
It was interesting. The headline on BBC Sport was like, what was it said? It said the Saints scraped past Halifax. It's like Halifax only scored 2 points.
Where was the scrape?
No matter what happened in that game, Halifax were always going to come out positively. Yeah, because I still think from that Challenge Cup, the best result to come out of that was Bradford beating Leeds by far, and obviously they got beaten by Halifax to get to that point. But I still think that's the highlight for me.
No, totally agree.
I think it was interesting because I think Halifax played the right game. In the fact that I think they tried to sort of shake them up a bit, got stuck in. Do you know what I mean? He played a little bit grubby.
You see, Ed Barber.
Yeah.
Ed Barber, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the scrum, so they go down at prop. And he's Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, like he's got as his opposite prop. So when they pack down, he reaches down and undoes his shoelace.
Yeah.
And that's classic. That's what used to happen. Or you get nipped. They went back to these sort of tactics of just trying to put them off the game.
And I think that was the right. I think that was the right tactics for them. You know,
make it easy.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of we as Super League teams. You're coached by the best to play the game in the best possible way to beat the best opposition. So Halifax aren't the best opposition, so they're not going to be playing the exact same way you want them to or expect them to.
No.
They're going to do everything they possibly can to either just mix things up or
ruffle the feathers. They went out
Exactly.
there to ruffle the feathers, I thought, and I thought that was the right plan. You know, try and get on top of them a bit, get them, put them off the game, so that they do make those mistakes. But something that interested me that John Wilkins said during, I think it was at half time, was that he said that the physical, they said that they could meet them physically, but it was the skill level that was different. Do you think that's true?
Skill levels, a lot different, and also physically, I think it's easier to match that, but you match it in a different way. Like say, Alex Walmsley's the biggest guy in the world, so the last thing you do is let him ramp up against you. Yeah. So no matter what, if there's somebody in front, you just fly up and get in his face as quick as possible. Not every other team in Super League is going to do that because the structures and the fact that they're a bit more physical between them should be able to handle that.
Yeah.
But if you're a lesser side as in physicality wise, you just get up in the face. It's something Robbie Hunter-Paul used to do to me all the time. Yeah. Anytime he saw me coming in, he'd, instead of sitting back because he was little, he'd steam up as fast as he could, just so as I caught the ball he was almost around my legs, so I just couldn't get that momentum. And that's how he adapted to playing against me. So he played it a bit smarter rather than using the physical side and trying to sit back and make a good tackle. So you're right, you just adapt. Physically you can sort of fix things up. Skill level, someone's passing you the ball, you've got to catch it and be able to pass it. That doesn't change. You can't get around that, if you know what I mean.
But it's interesting you mentioned the shoelace untying situation, because it's, to me, that sort of stuff you don't get told to do that, do you? By coaches. Coaches don't go when you get into the scrum every single time, go down and undo the shoelaces.
It's all the dark arts.
The dark.
Call it the dark arts. They're doing rugby union more than they do because there's a lot more goes on in the scrum. But
I don't think it happens anymore. Not like that. It may happen to a certain degree where you say, look, try and get under the skin and do whatever, and then the lads have probably talked between themselves. But I've heard coaches saying stand on their ankles and stuff like that. That has happened in the past. I don't think it's something we do now, and the reason being too many cameras. You just can't get away with that sort of thing. Anything you do, you get picked up on, and even things you don't do, you get picked up on. And I've been into judiciary when it's been in Leeds, and they said the reason I'd knocked somebody out was because I raised my knee. And then we looked at the video, and I did raise my knee because I'm 6'6". I was lifting my knees up. That's kind of how I run. But what they didn't see is that I think it was Louis McCarthy. That was when he was playing for London. He got the tackle technique wrong, and he come from my right side but put his left shoulder to my left side and put his head across the wrong way, and his head caught the top of my shoulder, and he was sparko on the floor. I got called in the next week for raising my knee. I think you may have got this wrong. Anyway, I got no fine, ban or anything, and essentially they just basically apologised. They just got it wrong.
People are allowed to make mistakes. Referees, the same as anybody else. I think we give them a rough ride sometimes, don't we? But
they're pantomime villains as well. I think we do give them a rough ride, and I think they should get a bit of a rough ride as well, because the referees, that's what we do. It's a sport, but you can't lay blame on refs. Honestly, some of the stuff that they get now is out of order. It's beyond Rugby League and what we're about. Yes, they deserve a bit of hammer because the referees, that's what you do, it's part of the game. Any sport is the same, but the way they treat at the moment is disgusting at times.
How do you help them though? Because obviously in NRL they play two referees, don't they? They play one on both sides, which I've seen some people say it helps, and recently I keep seeing stuff like it doesn't help at all. Refereeing standards still the same; they still have to make the same decisions, and it's just two guys making the same wrong decision. But
Well, like we've said we've discussed it in the past that I think we were, pretty much just about to go to the 2 referee situation, weren't we? Then we just found out we didn't really have enough.
Yeah, they realised we
qualified
had enough for one.
referees. Yeah. So that's where the problem lies with that. But I don't know. How do you help referee? Free cuddles from Eorl Crabtree after the games, I think, just for a bit of counselling.
I do like a cuddle, to be fair, but I was speaking to a couple of lads who are referees and local ones as well. And one of them had played at Siddle, and something had happened in the game, and one of the parents were waiting for him after. Yeah, and that is the issue we've got.
That is disgusting. That's not on at all.
And it's tough when there's parents like that. And I'm not saying it was a Siddle parent, by the way. It was a parent after a game. I don't know what other teams were involved, but there was somebody waiting. And this is the issue when you've got young lads trying to come through the system, not just playing, but actually as referees, or young ladies as well. And at the moment, we're in a position where they're getting scared off because of probably as much as anything abuse, and it's by parents.
What a ridiculous example to set to your kids. Like more than anything, what in any walk of life, whether it's rugby, football, going to school. And it's just a ridiculous example to set to your kids.
And the problem is it does happen all the time. Because I've been in games where it all kicks off and everyone's after the referee after the game because it's not official. Because they're just another person. They think it's all right that they can do that.
Yeah.
But that's what stops the top level of the game having enough referees to be able to have 2 referees on a pitch. Because they just leave. And I've got friends who are referees myself, and you hear the stick they get, and you're watching it, it's like, Christ, I don't want to be watching this.
And the reason they get into it is because they love it. They love the sport, and they love refereeing, and they actually have a passion for it, and that almost gets beaten out of them. They get bullied in the sense that parents or coaches as well will absolutely hammer these young referees, and they're the future of our game, or part of the future of our game, and we're just basically ruling them out of it straight away. So no wonder we can't progress in that sense.
Going back to the grubby tactics, though, you say it doesn't really happen anymore, but obviously you've been playing since the 60s. So what's the grubbiest tactics you've experienced in the scrum? What's the
in the scrum?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say most of them are in the scrum. It's just anywhere on the part. It's in the tackles where you can get away with it. I remember playing here at the John Smithson, and Stuart Fielden just literally wrapped his forearm straight across my face, and this is when it was like the old school, sort of back end of the old school era. He put my nose straight across my face, although I look beautiful now, I didn't at the time.
You do look beautiful.
Thank you, I needed that. And I didn't even get a penalty for it, and my nose was literally bent to the side. And that's the game I used to play. Like, you used to get absolutely nailed in the head, and nothing had even happened.
What's the bloke called in Australia? Will Hopperwarte. Didn't he stick the old digit up where it shouldn't ever go?
Yes, exactly, where the sun doesn't shine.
He got a massive ban for it, didn't he? It was probably.
I hope so.
Yeah, but the thing is, Cameron, it wasn't just a one-off. I think he was a repeat offender, wasn't he?
I mean, he's actually getting a lot of trouble for that now.
It's not just a penalty, is it? Perhaps it's an offence.
Well, I won't say anything like that's happened, but actually grabbing certain parts of the area, that's definitely happened. Or little elbows dropped in certain places. Yeah. I've had elbows dropped on my head, and probably one of the best ones was playing against Wakey for me, where Semi Tajalala were playing. They were really good at the time. And I ran near him, and it was probably about 15 metres in. I went down the blind side, so 15 metres in from touch. And he's wedged in, tried to put a bit of a shot on me. I found my front, and he's literally grabbed my ponytail, so my hair tied up, and he drags me across the floor for about 5 metres towards the touchline. I get a penalty off the back of it, but because the referee didn't know what to do, I mean, what penalty signal do you give for somebody pulling somebody's hair? And I don't think this has ever happened before. It was basically invented for me, this. And I can't remember who the referee was. And all he did was put his, I can't obviously see it on the podcast, but he puts his hand towards his head as if mimicking grabbing a ponytail. And he just sort of nods his head like, while doing his hair. At the
Just
same
so
time.
everybody knows, Earl looks like he's doing some sort of random disco move right now. It was good. I liked it, Earl. It was good.
And I got a penalty, and I think he got a fine for it as well. I'm like, hang on a second.
Speaking of pulling ponytails, also on the weekend was the women's final.
Yes.
Just before the men's, which I thought was... Is that the first time that's happened?
As a curtain raiser,
Yeah.
I think it has, yes.
It's happened before.
I don't remember it being the double header.
Yeah.
Well, it was a triple header at the weekend. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know what it was.
Well, it was
but-
quadruple because it was the 1895
Yes.
final
yeah.
after and all, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, completely. I didn't
So,
even know that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been good again, Leeds. Fantastic.
To be fair, they are violent.
Yeah.
I saw at one point someone literally grab somebody's head and pull them down over the touchline. But they didn't do anything about it because apparently that's just what happens.
To be fair, you did play rugby union, so you would be intimidated by that sort of thing.
I wore a head guard so no one could grab my head.
I know I've seen pictures.
of just there.
Oh, funny story. Actually, funny story about that picture. After that, we were playing a touring team who came down, and it was they travelled about 100 odd miles from, and it was like on the border of Scotland or something. And we'd battered them, and it was so at the end of it, and also the game wasn't going to be played because it was raining so much, so the pitch was destroyed. The groundsman didn't want us to play. We were like, we can't not play. They're here. This team from right on the border, they've travelled 2.5 hours since this morning. I mean,
Hike or Gala Shields or one of those. Melrose maybe, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So weird, but I remember, and then after the game we because the pitch was ruined, we all ran up to the fans at the side and we did belly slide across, and as I did it, I'm terrible. I got a horrific cramp all the way down my legs. So everyone's got up and walked away, and I'm down on the floor going, I can't move. Somebody help! So the coach is coming across and everyone's gone. I'm the only one left on the field, and they're holding on both my legs up in the air. And I'm like, God, right at the end of the game. That happened in
You are actually covered in mud.
No,
by the way.
yeah.
It looked absolutely ridiculous.
Just to clarify, how many fans were there on the touchline that you were
it was enough to the point where it was very embarrassing. But not as embarrassing. I did a Tough Mudder last year, and you know the electric wire bit. It's probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life because my dad's with me and he's a big guy, and he's embarrassed me the whole way around because he's done the full 10-mile run, and he looks like he could have done it again by the end. But this was 5 miles in, and he's run through this electric barbed wire, and it's like, oh, it must be easy then. I walk in, I'm very scared because it's wet, it's electric. I've seen people fall over in it. I don't want that to happen to me. One of these wires touches the top of my thigh, and my leg twitches like one of the frogs they use in America, electrocuted. I'm like, this isn't going to be fun. This. So, and in the middle there's a hay bale which you have to step over. So if you've managed to avoid everything that far, you have to step over it. And I've stepped over it, and I swear to God I passed out. I've been shot somewhere, and I wake up on the floor in piles of mud. And this is the most watched point, obviously, by people who are just watching it, because it's the electrocution bit and everybody loves it. And I'm bled on the floor, and I'm like, God, what's just happened? And my legs, just all the muscles in my legs are twitching, spasming out, and then I have to crawl out of the mud, and then I get out and I get on my back, and I've got loads of cramp in my legs again, and my dad's just there going, get up. So I was like, I literally can't. I'm crying my eyes out.
We should never have worried about this podcast. This is like Cameron's embarrassing story podcast.
So even your dad's embarrassed.
No, he was like, we've got another 5 miles to go there. You're not stopping now. We're going for this. And then I ran the rest of the thing, getting cramp every 10
minutes. Have you got a
minutes.
girlfriend, Cameron? Have you got any embarrassing stories you
Not
can tell
anymore.
us that happening? I don't know whether I feel bad or intrigued.
Yeah, I've actually done the Tough Mudder. I did it last year, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I did one with Andy Lynch, Keith Senior, Robbie Hunter-Paul. I'm not sure if there's anyone else in that group. And in fact, that's when Robbie Hunter-Paul was doing a hacker to warm the whole group up before we went out, which was unbelievable, actually, really random. And then he ran off at the front with a flare. It was like something out of a film, honestly, and he led us all out. It was
like Braveheart.
He was like Braveheart. But about 2 miles in, he couldn't walk. It was like really, it went from being a hero to absolutely pathetic.
Hero to zero in 2 miles.
But I got to that point and I remember it dangling down. I thought, all right, here we go. I'm just going to go for this. So I sprinted through and nothing touched me and it didn't affect me in the slightest. And I got to the last one. It felt like someone had kicked me up my backside, just right in my glute. And I could feel myself sort of wobble a bit. And I thought, wow, that hurt. And then Keith Senior goes through, Robbie goes through, and then Andy Lynch looked at it. And he just walked around it. He just went, nah, I'm not doing that. He just literally walked around the outside. I was like, you.
That was also the other problem.
Yeah.
My dad did say he would disown me if I went round the side, so I was sort of I was a bit under pressure. To be fair, he's not talked to me since.
Anyway, this counselling session's going really well today.
Have you got any embarrassing stories?
No.
Best crack on with the Rugby League stuff then, eh?
There's more of Cameron's, that's something like me.
Well, I did have another thing to talk about, to be fair, Rugby League wise. We've got Toronto have obviously been crowned league leader, league leader winners of the championship, and it's same as last year. We assume they're going to be coming up the same as they did last year. But do we think it's their year finally?
Yes. Yeah, it's just got to be. I
don't know. Is there any other teams you can see beating them?
Well, to be fair, you could have said the same last year, wouldn't you?
Well, I know, but there's not.
How many weeks left they got left in the championship? Enough that it's quite. It's they've lost one game.
Yeah, it just seems a bit boring now. Like you're waiting around for it. It's like they've already achieved that, and I think the coaching staff they've got in place at the moment is a little bit different. They're more structured, more disciplined, and the players that they've got as well. And I do believe if they do come up there, I don't know what they're going to do because they'll probably spend some money, I assume, and it's about recruitment, which is the most important thing, and getting players that will actually play for each other. London have shown this year that you don't need to go out and spend masses of money, just bringing players in who are talented on paper but not really great for your team.
Just signed a great halfback though, haven't they, for the rest of the season, which shows a bit of how's that going to go? Are London going to be going down or are they going to be staying up? That's an interesting one.
It's a hell of a situation actually, because we've got obviously Wakefield who have now been dragged into it. And they've got. I was going to ask you actually. They're on such a bad run of form. They've gone from being third in the table and dropped, and now you've got. I hate it. I saw Fafita on Twitter. He was having a go at the fans after the. Was it after the Catalan game? I think it was after the Catalan game.
Yeah, they lost like about 6 games, haven't they? 6 or 7 games on the bounce.
And he's basically having to go at the fans saying, "Oh, you try and do this, that sort of thing."
Yeah. Well, that's what he's paid for.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You've got this situation now where the club's in a spiral.
Yeah,
they're losing games after games after games. Yeah. The fans are now turning against the players.
Yeah,
got a lot of players out injured. How do you get over that?
Well, you don't realise how low they are actually, Wakefield as well. I've just brought the table up, and obviously there's London, Hull KR Leeds on 16, and Wakefield on 18 alongside us, but we're better on points difference as well. So.
And they've got
2 off bottom.
And Wakefield have got St Helens on Friday.
So
which you would imagine that St Helens would win.
Yeah, you would, of course, but you'd also. I mean, you'd have to say that London probably still are the favourites, but with so many teams on the same points.
Do you know Wakefield have got on last day? London.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's going to be the big game, isn't it? So it's you get down to that. It's so tight though.
Yeah, and we're not talking about us, which is quite nice, because we're not far off neither as well. No. So we've got to hopefully we really need. I mean, we've got a decent enough running as such, but you've got to put these teams away. You've got to win these games.
Start with Leeds on Friday night for us.
It is absolutely huge. What a game! I mean, we're doing everything we can as well. Actually, to Mark, with to try and encourage people to come down to this game.
We are. We want a massive crowd here for that game.
Seems like we've got people coming from all over for this game as well, because it is the game to be at. If you're going to be anywhere, this is the place, the rival.
Which is why Sky have picked it for TV.
Yeah, so.
We need a big crowd here to get behind the boys. Leeds rolled us, didn't they, last time at their spot, and this is a big game for us. If we can get over the line at this game, I just would feel that little bit more comfortable with where we're at in the season.
That's what I'm saying. Though, with Wakefield being the team on the same points as us, with them playing St Helens, we get a win here, and the likelihood is they're not going to beat St Helens.
Yeah,
gives us a 2-point gap. They've got Hull KR at the end of the month, which is another massive game in terms of that area.
Huge battle.
On Sunday, Hull KR play Castleford. It's another one that could make a massive difference.
Yeah.
And London have Salford. So at London though, I mean they could quite easily pick up 2 points there. That would be one of them. They would have eyed up to actually pick up 2 points, which would take them off the bottom.
Has anybody got their eyes on the top of the table anymore? For this year, or is it all about what's happening at the bottom? That's the question.
It's all bottom now.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Playoffs are almost sort of they're not as exciting as what's going on, because you could go from. In 2 games, you can go from we are now at the top of the rest to the bottom. It takes absolutely nothing at all.
You've got 5 teams there that could possibly get relegated, haven't you?
And the big teams at that. I spoke at the beginning of the year about, and this was after maybe 3 or 4 games of Leeds being where they were, and how massive an effect on rugby league that could have if they went down. I mean, it would be great for the Championship because the likelihood is they're going to bump up in viewers, but it's a huge loss for the Super League. But like you said, London are probably favourites to go.
I don't think it made that much difference, to be honest with you. I think Leeds, if they did go down, I think they just do the right things and get people in place to get rid of quite a few people.
Yeah.
And then in my eyes, they'll come straight back up again.
I suppose we thought that about Bradford.
Yeah. No, Bradford were a bit different because they were in so much
financial difficulty. Whereas Leeds definitely aren't.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
A little bit like us when we went down, and we deserved to go down. To be fair, we were nowhere near good enough, and we were struggling with the players that we were getting in. We were probably paying players to come in and try and save us, and they were nowhere near good enough and just picking up a wage. Whereas for us, we managed to restructure the whole thing and bring in youngsters and bring them through to then get us back up again. It worked really well for the Giants, and I don't see why it'd be any different for Leeds. People are scared of them going down, but I don't actually believe they will do anyway.
I don't think they will, but I mean, like I say, London signing Brock Lamb is a sign of their commitment to trying to stay up, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens off the back of that. I've said they've got some big games coming on with Salford this weekend. That's a huge one. It won't be an upset neither, because they're playing that brand of rugby where they score points, score tries, they can win games.
It's what was I going to say? I've completely forgotten.
It's your podcast.
It was
But just going back to Friday night, just a quick one, just to remind fans that are coming to the game that first bus have quite nicely put on free travel to the game. So if you've got a match ticket, a season card or printed version, you can walk onto any first bus after 5 o'clock in the evening and make your way to the game and back again after the game. So
it's a great deal. It's a fantastic deal for a big game, and I hope a lot of people take up the offer. It's a great gesture from First Bus to show the commitment to the sport. Just congratulations to our commercial team here for being able to do that deal, Earl. Do you know who managed to sort that out? Or?
He was this really tall bloke, really nice lad.
Brian Blacker.
Great. No, he's almost as small as you. But no, I was very fortunate that they came in this year, and I brought them on board, which I'm quite proud of. Very big brand, and their academy main sponsor, so they're very much into the community, especially bringing people through the system for us, but also on the buses as well, because they believe in trying to get everyone to the right places on time. They help the academy lads in making sure they get to training on time and things like that. So this is almost just a little bit of a reward for our commitment to them and vice versa. They're great people, fantastic people. Hopefully we'll have their support for a number of years, but they understand that as a sport we're trying everything we can to increase numbers, and they're trying to increase numbers on buses as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, so one of the big criticisms that we get as a club is that we don't do enough for our fans, we don't do enough to promote the game. And I certainly disagree with that. I think
who was going out giving away tickets yesterday?
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's a fantastic gesture by First Buses to sort of offer free travel to our fans, not just our fans, to the game. Leeds fans can also take advantage of the offer.
Anybody with a match day ticket.
It's a great gesture, and we've all been out around the town trying to promote the game. We really want Huddersfield to get behind us for this game.
And a big thank you to Roll Steady as well, Roll Steady HD, who have done our preview video or our promo video for the Leeds game, which has gone down really, really well. We've got a lot of great feedback, and another company that helped support us throughout the season and promoting the games that we've done as well. So they help work alongside Connor in the media department, and you, Tim, as well. And it's just great that we've got these people in place that want to support us and help us through.
Indeed.
I've remembered what I was going to say.
It better be good now.
Right. We've going back to what we were saying before. You were talking about you wouldn't be worried if somebody like Leeds went down because they'd come straight back up again. Now we've seen with Toronto already, who dominated last year and are dominating this year, that's not necessarily the case, because it all comes down to that final game in a playoff place to get you back up. Is that the right way about promotion relegation?
Because I think Toronto and Leeds are two completely different beasts. Toronto. Sorry, it's my accent.
Okay,
sorry, Toronto. I'm supposed to say that. Toronto.
It's better.
Toronto are a completely different beast to Leeds. I think Leeds have already got their infrastructure in place and have had their Super League infrastructure in place for 20 odd years, whereas Toronto haven't. They've put a squad together to try and get there, but they've not got the infrastructure in place that Leeds have got. So I think it's slightly different. If we're talking about whether it's the right system for promotion and relegation, in terms of
it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. Sure. Yeah, I'm glad we've got rid of the £1 million game.
Yep.
Because I don't think that was the right way to go about it. I think there's too much sort of insecurity approaching that. But is it any different for the lads that would be sitting bottom all the way? Is that any different?
No, I don't. Do you know what? For me personally, it should be just 1 up, 1 down. Quite simple, unless you could do it where we have more teams where you could get 2 up, 2 down. I think that's the right format to have in the future, where the divisions are getting stronger and stronger. They do need support, but I just don't like this. You finish like that, Toronto, but they still, you say potentially then could lose a game to go up. It's absolutely ridiculous.
The way they lost last year was in one of the lowest scoring games I've ever seen in my life. Was it 4-2?
Yes. 4-2. It was awful as well. It was an awful game. But they should be preparing now for next season, knowing that they're coming up.
Absolutely.
And that's what they should do to be able to get in place.
So you're talking automatic promotion and relegation?
That's just the way the game should go. Like other sports that are quite successful. It's just the way it should be done, in my opinion.
There's pros and cons to both systems, isn't there? You sort of like it gets a bit boring knowing that Toronto now, if it's automatic promotion, it gets a bit boring now that Toronto going up. There's nothing much to play for really for the rest of the teams apart from the ones down at the bottom. Rochdale looks like they're getting relegated now from the Championship.
I'm actually forgetting about the bottom. We have to speak about Widnes. They've obviously reached the final of their competition last week, and they obviously started the season on -12. And they've gone. It's such a strong team, and to be put in that situation where just before the league starts, you might not be a team, you might not exist, and then to be playing and to play as well as they have. They should have been, I think, high mid-table. If they hadn't had the -12 points, obviously, but.
They've got a good coach there, though.
They've done brilliantly well.
Kieran Pirtle's one of the most organised, most professional coaches I've ever worked alongside. I've got a lot of time for him, and we had a few cross paths at times and mixed messages and giving each other a bit of grief, but that's what you do with coaches. He's just one of the most articulate coaches I've ever worked with. Timings and being professional and doing the right things, video, and being really structured in what he did. I think he helped like Paul Anderson go on to bigger and better things with the Giants as well. Probably never got the appreciation he probably deserved, and it's good to see him doing such a good job. I think they've got a great coach there.
It's been about Kieran. You look at his coaching CV. He's been at Saints, Huddersfield, Lee, Widnes. He's been about. He's very experienced.
Yeah, shrewd operator, really is.
And good on him for sticking about, sort of around at Widnes.
Well, he'll get his rewards off the back of that, though, won't he? You never know what's going to happen. You're talking about coaches moving, and another one we haven't even brought up the fact that Justin Holbrook's. Actually, I don't know if that's on your list of things to talk about.
It's not.
He's moving
going to Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And that has come as a bit of a surprise. And speaking about it yesterday and talking about his motivation and whether that's an issue within our sport, is that we actually lose these coaches. For me, I believe that these coaches use it as a stepping stone.
Certainly.
And then they move back.
Right.
It's ultimately what they do. Is it opportunity? Is it money? What are the reasons behind this? I think it's probably quite all of the above.
I think you're 100% right. It's the NRL is seen as the pinnacle of the game, and if you're an ambitious person in anything you want to do, you're going to want to reach the pinnacle of whatever it is you do. So,
do you ever get any offers from there, Earl?
All the time. I just keep turning them down just to do podcasts with you.
We got an offer from Sydney Roosters the other day, but apparently the mascot suit wasn't fit.
It's ironic, isn't it, coming from you? There's a budget.
I'd fit in it. It wouldn't be a problem for me.
In the past, I had offers, which was quite nice. I had interest from St George Illawarra quite a few years ago, which would have been lovely, but I just never, I never even considered it really. It's something I wasn't interested in.
What happened? Why didn't you didn't want to go?
I just didn't want to go. I genuinely love where I live. I'm a proper home bird, and it has no interest to me whatsoever moving to Australia. Don't get me wrong, I love to go on holiday and stuff like that, and just to visit places, and I love going around. But to actually play that, I had no interest. I love where I'm from, I genuinely do, and my family and kids and stuff like that. It's just so important to me that I was never somebody that wanted to chase trophies and never wanted to chase this sort of I don't know lifestyle. I just never I had what I wanted, and I could have gone elsewhere, and I nearly went to Saints at one point as well, and you know how successful they've been, and I would have been a part of that. But I chose not to be. I don't regret that. At
what point in your career did those moves nearly come about? Who was in charge at St George? Who wanted you from St George?
I haven't got a clue, so I didn't even look into it. I just had agents on the phone. That's how it works. But when there was Daniel Anderson at Saints, and Warrington were very interested at times, so I had offers from both Wigan. And then I think him Salford around the same time, so I had quite a few people that were basically wanting me, which was quite nice, and I turned all them down because I knew that I was quite happy here. I had a testimonial coming up as well.
I can't imagine the golfing wages that had been able to offer you would have been worth sitting on in the M62.
That is one of the biggest
every day of the week.
Genuinely, I detest being sat in traffic. I'm 15 minutes away from work here. I absolutely love the fact that I can just drive over Farnley Tyres past you while you're on your nice walk with your family and stuff like that. Drop down past Castle Hill, straight to the stadium, and I'm like, do you know what? That does it for me. That is, I'm quite happy to sacrifice.
Just for the record, I'm not out walking over Castle Hill with my family at 8:30 in the morning on a work day. Usually on my way to work as well.
Yeah, gosh, you
Start behind you.
What else do they do at Castle Hill? You don't. Sat in the car up there on an evening.
Fly kites.
There's a brilliant rugby pitch up there. Castle Hill. Well, just down from it. I don't know who plays there.
News and Panthers.
It's a brilliant view. I'd love to go.
You've got News and Panthers and what's the cricket club called?
Allbauer
cricket, yeah. News and Panthers Allbauer cricket.
Yeah, it's a
club,
great setup there, and it's a shame actually. I think they've probably struggled in the last few years as well with raising teams at Newsham. I don't know if they've even got an open age one anymore at the moment, which is a sad case of affairs, because up there is just a great spot, a beautiful spot, and it just feels like it needs probably a little bit of help, support, investment to then bring through more youngsters and open age teams. And I think that's something that we do badly in Huddersfield. We dilute our teams in Huddersfield. They keep setting up in different places, and they'll only have a couple of age groups. And we'll talk about Cameron playing rugby union. Lockwood, I've been there a few times, and I remember going down to one of their days when they asked me to help with some coaching, and I asked how many people they had here, and they said, we've got 250 kids. 250 kids, and it's got one club, one really well run club, which has got plenty of pitches, plenty of support. They've got the same sponsors that they share between them. They work together really well, and it runs all the way through.
And it's probably the same for YMCA, I'm guessing.
I imagine it is, and I know that they still have decent teams up their sizes. What worries me is that we in Huddersfield's rugby league population is actually just dilute our teams rather than having just 2 or 3 good teams with age levels all the way through, including open age. And I think that's something we do as a sport massively wrong.
Yeah.
Right then, I know we said we wanted to make this a shorter one than usual, but we've still managed to run over 15-minute mark.
Wow.
We've really enjoyed this. We should.
It's your fault. You just keep talking.
I'm so sorry. I just need to point out now that I'm actually going on holiday for the next couple of weeks as well. So
am I.
Yeah,
I'm on holiday next week.
So am I. That's not a joke.
So. On that note,
Over and out.
Connor may be doing a podcast
solo.
Let's just take a holiday. Let's just take a podcast holiday.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Let's take a podcast holiday.
On that note,
we may or may not be back next week.
Where are you going, Cameron?
I'm going to Keswick.
Keswick?
I am. Very nice.
Where are you going, Earl?
Portugal.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
For the festival, I'm very cultured.
Lovely.
I'm very cultured. Did you know that?
Yeah, you're wearing like a bit of a tartan sort of shirt, actually, aren't you?
Well, what's that got to do with anything?
I was going to Scotland, and thought you were just sort of like getting into the spirit of it.
You'll be in a kilt.
I've got a ginger wig and all.
How much?
No, it's not got a kilt.
How much do we have to pay for the kilt on Friday?
Kilt on Friday?
For World
I actually own a kilt.
Well, for some reason that doesn't surprise me.
I say kilt, might be a skirt. No, it's definitely a kilt.
Right then, brilliant. It's been very enjoyable. We should do another one of these.
Indeed.
Again in the future.
Please, lads.
Who needs guests? Give each other.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Cameron.
And we may or may not be back again next week.
Probably
so thanks
not.
very much.
We'll take a break. Cheers.